Yeah, I really did just buy 10,000 Wormhole tokens, and it's for a very good reason. And yes, it is time sensitive as well. All will be explained in this video. I will tell you what Wormhole is, why I'm so bullish on this project, and why right now is a great time to buy. So guys, do not forget, if you do find yourself enjoying the content at any point throughout this video, please don't forget to drop down there momentarily and hit the like button. Also, if you're really feeling frisky, subscribe so you can achieve your crypto goals. So yes, the reason why this is time sensitive is because I just don't see Wormhole being at this price for too much longer. The valuation that investors got in was $2.5 billion market cap, and as you can see right here, the current market cap for Wormhole is $1.9 billion. So we're actually getting in right now cheaper than a lot of those investors did. And this chart resembles what PIF looked like, and many other projects, Celestia, for example, that have launched sometime in the last few months here, in the bull market at least. Because what happens when you give a lot of airdrop recipients tokens, like the community, they are likely going to sell immediately, which is what happened. And now I believe we have found some support. And again, it would not surprise me if we possibly have a little bit of a further dip down to about 90 cents, no less, before we move up and up and up. So I think that this is urgent, again, because you're not going to really get this chance for too much longer. At least I firmly do believe. Of course, I've put all my eggs, well, a lot of my eggs in the basket already, so of course I'm going to say that. So if you're a little bit confused as to what Wormhole is, well, Wormhole basically, as they put it, is the web of Web3. It's a layer zero connecting many different blockchain networks that are what's called siloed, right? They're independent. It's hard to connect together. That's simply how it's put. Kind of like the web that the spider creates between all the different trees, for example. And these guys, as we'll see in a minute here, have quite a lot of blockchains connected. They've got billions of dollars transferred around the crypto space. And again, I just think based on all of the statistics that are out there, this is just an absolute gem of a project. They've been running for 3 years now, pretty flawlessly. They've had their hiccups along the way, but I think, again, you know, as time has progressed, they've gotten better and better. So I've been waiting for this for a long time, and it's finally here. The contract's like, I think, a few days old. Yeah, so 2 days old here. So Wormhole is comprised of like mainly 4 different aspects, but the overarching idea here is that it is a messaging protocol. It's not just a bridge. It's actually a protocol designed to allow people to build those sort of bridge assets on top of it, okay? It's, again, that layer zero beneath all the different networks, connecting them together in a way. So what you can do as a developer is, of course, connect your smart contract to another smart contract, either on top of Wormhole or via a different blockchain, and provide much more complicated transactions than just sending token A to chain B, right? So that's pretty standard. Most bridges allow you to just send that token across. You might want to burn the token on blockchain 1 and mint that same token on blockchain 2, and vice versa. Well, these guys offer a whole lot more functionalities, but again, it's built on top of Wormhole, and I will show you a diagram for this in a moment. So they go into some of the aspects and some of the unique properties of the project on this page here. By the way, all their products are mentioned on the column on the side here, but this is kind of like explaining everything. We can go one step further and have a look at the Wormhole queries, which is allowing users to pull data on demand. So a user might want to access information from Solana on Ethereum, and they can go ahead and pull that information across and do whatever they want. Let's say an NFT project on Ethereum had its contract and many different NFTs scattered across different networks, and they want to run a poll, for example. Well, they can run the poll, and they can, have all the different NFTs scattered across the different blockchains, put their submission from those blockchains onto Ethereum, so you can do that all on the source chain. So hold your NFT on Solana whilst interacting with the blockchain on Ethereum. Also, Wormhole Connect allows developers to just simply plug and play in a few lines of code here a sort of bridge itself. So, bridges can be quite difficult to create, especially if you want to do it from scratch and create the 2 endpoints and have a middleman, while Wormhole has a plug-and-play model for developers, right? So as easy as developers or end users can use this bridge, developers can enter it into their application, and it all reroutes through Wormhole, so there's no stress at all. I'm not entirely sure if this goes through one of their flagship products, which is Portal, or not, but either way, this is a really interesting and unique feature. Now, the 2 last aspects here are why I'm the most bullish on Wormhole. First of all, Wormhole NNT, or Native Token Transfer, is just a way in which, developers can send the token on the source chain 1 to, send that same token over to source chain B. This allows them to have all the metadata and all the stuff that typically goes unseen from you and I, but is very important for the, liquidity of the token itself and, some of the stuff that I just simply don't understand myself, have that all transferred to a different blockchain in the same way that it was represented on blockchain 1. So it's all native, okay? So obviously this comes in 2 different forms, and they do mention this on the page. You have the burn and mint feature where you burn on source chain 1 and you mint it on the other chain, and vice versa. If you want to move it back over the bridge, you burn it and mint it, and so on and so forth, so that the supply doesn't increase. And there's also other ways as well. There's a locking way as well, so you can lock the tokens, unlock the tokens, whatever. But the really beautiful part about NTT is that developers have the choice to not just do that, but create any sort of attestation method that they so wish, which means they can get really complex with it and have any sort of procedure involved with doing that as well. So it just provides them all the flexibility they need. And right now, some of the NTT products include Lido, Ether, Puffer Finance, Pike, and Wormhole. So you can see some of those tokens being leveraged cross-chain natively. And one last thing that we will touch on in a moment here, because this is, whether you know it or not, the de facto bridge from Solana to every other network in the crypto space. So basically, it's quite bullish, right? Everything has to pretty much pass through Wormhole to get in or out of Solana for the most part. And they're also trying to make this happen with Cosmos. But it's not just Cosmos. Cosmos has all those different blockchains. Celestia, Injective, Osmosis, the list, but even Binance Smart Chain is built on the Cosmos SDK. And so when you connect to Cosmos via IBC, which is the interconnected blockchain sort of network, you reach a whole heap of demand that really isn't conceivable, okay? So what they're doing here is just like being the premier or de facto bridge for Solana, they're trying to do this as well for Cosmos. This is part of the reason why it attracted me to Wormhole in the first place, and as soon as that token came on the market and I got a favorable chance to buy down here, I of course executed on that. Now all of this is enabled, secured, and run thanks to their peer-to-peer network they call the Guardian Network. This is a network comprised of 19 validators who are tasked with processing all of the transactions, or at least there's requirement of at least 2/3 to approve every single transaction that passes through anything to do with Wormhole, okay? So again, this is called their Guardian Network. You can find more information under Guardians, and all I'll mention here is that in the words of Wormhole, it's the most critical element of the Wormhole ecosystem, and as they say, if you want a deep understanding of Wormhole in general, look into just the Guardians and you'll learn a lot. Now, there's 19, again, validators on this list that secure the network, and these are the 19 so far. You can see 3 of these are very popular staking providers on a lot of different blockchains, Chorus One, Everstake, and Figment. So if you know who they are, you definitely stake your tokens at least somewhere. Wakey wakey, for anyone who may be watching this video falling asleep, I've got just a thing to spring you back to life. This video is sponsored by Taboo, an altcoin that, well, as you may have probably guessed, is an adult entertainment project that aims to provide media and streaming services from a lineup of exclusive models with even the benefit of real-life events. With features like calendars, magazines, NFT collections, and more, Taboo offers more than just video content. They provide unprecedented access to models with millions of followers like Chloe Ture, Jaylene Cook, and Jenny Summers, which are some of the hottest models in the adult industry. From the first time we spoke about Taboo on the channel, they've pumped 3x from $0.0016 per token into a local high of 0.044, as you can see here. Right now, though, they're comfortably sitting at around 40% up from that initial price we spoke about them, which of course has been thanks to the recent market correction. According to their roadmap, things might be heating up sooner than expected as well, seeing as they're launching their highly anticipated marketplace on April 12th, where they'll unlock all the photo, video, streaming, VR, AR, AI, one-on-one experiences, and more to their NFT holders. This is where the true demand for the NFT and token will actually come from, so there's been a lot of anticipation amongst their community. With the Web2 adult entertainment market currently on target to break $300 billion worldwide by 2025 and crypto to fall somewhere around $7 trillion. Taboo is a unique blend of 2 huge markets with, of course, all the additional benefits. It's important, though, to remember that the founders are not currently doxxed, so guys, make sure to go ahead and do your own research, and thank you to Taboo for sponsoring this video. Not to mention as well, one of the key and core properties of how this all works basically is the Guardian network basically looks on every single blockchain that it's connected to at these things called Wormhole core contracts. Any transaction or any message that needs to go through Wormhole is firstly added to the core contract on every single blockchain. There's only one core contract, which means these Guardians are always like sort of pinging and looking at these contracts themselves. So the architecture of this basically is you'll have a source contract or a DeFi product on Ethereum that wants to transfer something over to the target chain, which is maybe Solana. Of course, it needs to add the message of the transaction into the core contract, which then gets added to a log in order, gets added to the Guardian network. They validate, they say, yes, this is all good. Then it gets sent to the relayer and it gets added in a sequence in a nice order, sent over to the target contract, and of course is validated and successfully processed through the target chain Wormhole core contract. Now, Wormhole has a lot of interesting stats. We'll touch more on these towards the end of the video when I compare it to one of its main competitors, but $41 billion in value transferred. Overall, there's been 1 billion total messages. Again, a message is much more complex than a transaction. I love this interface. You can see, where the funds are being sent to via the different source chains, even reverse it to the target chain as well. And you will know very quickly that a lot of this does pass through both Solana and Ethereum. Now, for those wondering, and there will probably be only a couple of you, these messages actually do include all of the Pyth outgoing transactions as well. So Pyth utilizes, of course, Wormhole because Pyth is built on Solana to send all those price feed updates to all those different networks. So immediately there's going to be a lot of traffic. As you can see here, I'm not too sure how many of these are outgoing out of the Solana network, but Pyth is processing millions and millions every single day of these price feed updates. So that's going to bump up this quite a lot, but it's still quite incredible how many messages have been passed through this. So let me give you a better visualization of what I just mentioned. So Wormhole is a framework for decentralized applications to be built and instantly connected to other networks. So Wormhole being sort of that framework for cross-chain messaging in general. And then you can have applications built on top of Wormhole, like Portal, like Jupiter, which connects to many different blockchains, okay? They can decide to interact with many different blockchains. They can even choose to settle their transactions on any blockchain they want and process their transactions on any blockchain they want. So they don't have to be built on top of Wormhole. They might be built on top of Algorand and use a different network for transactions via the bridge. So there's a lot of complexities that can occur here, and it's only the real start of what really is out there for the future growth of Wormhole. Now again, keep in mind everything that passes through Wormhole must pass through the core contracts first, and then be validated by the 19 Guardian nodes, which is their own peer-to-peer network, before being sent back on to whatever chain that is going to be receiving those tokens, and vice versa. Okay, now there's currently 29 total blockchains. I think there might actually be more. I think this list might be outdated, but this is all I could find so far. Either way, there already is quite a large number of these built in on Wormhole. And like I said, Wormhole is the de facto sort of bridge between Solana and the rest of the crypto ecosystem. So almost everything that passes from Solana to the broader crypto ecosystem passes through Wormhole, which includes the likes of Pyth and others. So basically, as Solana grows, you can pretty well bet so too will Wormhole. And we know a lot of us are quite bullish on Solana as a whole, as a project throughout this entire bull run, going as far as to even ranking the Solana ecosystem as a narrative quite high as well. So this puppy hits quite a lot of narratives, as you could imagine: interoperability, modularity, layer 0, and app chain, so layer 3s, because they can be built on top. Technically, even though they're applications, they're still kind of app chains in a way, and it all built on the modular narrative, of course. So yes, very, very high ranking, one of the, I'd say, A+ tier projects in terms of narratives. And briefly, I want to touch on the tokenomics of the project, because I know this is an area a lot of people like to talk about for good reason too. So the distribution is only one part, actually not even, I'd say 1/3 of the story when it comes to tokenomics. There can be quite unfavorable looking tokenomics or distribution here, which ultimately it doesn't look like it. The only thing I would say that's a little bit iffy is the community and launch, but as we'll see in a minute, it's not that bad at all. Where it really matters the most is with the vesting schedule, okay? You can have 90% of the tokens given to the community or to the founders or to investors, But if that unlocks in 10 years, it's not going to impact us, okay? So the only thing I'd be concerned with here, again, is those third parties, such as the core contributors, such as this community. The community by far is the worst people to give tokens to because paper hands, right? They sell on any sort of news. The venture capitalists, the VCs, these guys know what's coming. They have the foresight to be able to kind of zoom out all the time, okay? But as you can see, only 3 entities out of all of these have their tokens unlocked at launch. Matter of fact, what I'm likely going to be selling here in the next 12 months, so if I kind of zoom in a little bit down here, month 12, actually these 3 entities will still only have their tokens, which is 1, the community and launch, ecosystem and incubation, and foundation treasury. Now, the foundation treasury is absolutely fine. We do not have to worry about these guys at all. So this is a dark color down here. This is just a foundation looking to, make a net positive change for Wormhole. They won't be dumping their tokens on the open market. But where we have to be kind of concerned with is the community and launch. Now, this is the airdrops as well. 11% unlocked at TGE. Again, that's why we've had that little bit of a dip over here, thanks to those airdrop sellers. And there's no real, reason for concern because they will be receiving 6% of their tokens from that point. So a total of 16% 4 months after. So this little jump up over here, you can see, is the airdrop recipients getting more of their tokens. So we might see a bit of a sell-off over here. But if there's pretty good conditions, I think people at that point will decide to hold their tokens. And again, nothing's really going to change. They will receive some of their tokens on a linear schedule when we decide to sell sometime in month 12. But other than that, guys, again, nothing really is concerning. I will say, though, the core contributors, which are, of course, the VCs, have none of their tokens unlocked at TGE and will have their tokens unlocked way over here. Okay, so month 13. So again, around about May next year. So I'd likely have my position sold by then, given the market does what I think it's going to do. Now, Wormhole's major competitors are Layer Zero, not currently trading, will be trading soon though, and Axelar, okay? All 3 will do really well, but we'll touch mainly here on Layer Zero because it's currently about 2 to 3 times larger than Axelar, and this will more likely be a sort of comparable competitor, if that makes sense. So the first major difference is that Layer Zero is not a de facto of any one network. So of course, Wormhole is trying to be with Cosmos and all those networks and already is with Solana, whereas again, Layer Zero has not got any single networks that it takes most of that sort of volume from, all right? Now, Wormhole is about a year older than Layer Zero, give or take, with about a few more applications already built on it or with it. So Layer Zero has a bit more blockchains connected to those, 64 blockchains, and these guys have a lot more messages, so about almost 10 times more, but that does include Pyth as well. Either way, it would definitely be more messages on Wormhole, and there is slightly more volume that has been transferred over the course of time via Layer Zero, likely because of the more blockchains that are connected, which apparently is even outshining the fact that these guys, Wormhole being, the premier bridge between Solana and the rest of the ecosystem. And if we're going to compare these two face to face, they're 2 a pop, right? So it is kind of even if you were going to look at one or the other. But if we have a look at the investors, this is kind of where we draw the line, right? So over here for Wormhole, they have about $225 million raised, which is a lot of money, mind you, at a $2.5 billion valuation, which again is one of the reasons why I'm saying right now is possibly non-financially a good time to look at buying some Wormhole. However, Layer Zero edges them out at $293 million raised at a $3 billion valuation, okay? So slightly more valued, but there is a lot more money that has been raised, of course, as well. Now, unfortunately for Wormhole, they don't have a massive list of investors. It's not the be-all and end-all by any stretch. They do have some really, really big names in here, but unfortunately, the investors on Layer Zero just absolutely outclass and outshine in every way possible. They have 39 investors, and you'll notice some of these are doubled or tripled up, okay? Now, I've only highlighted the ones that are like S tier. If you could just pick some like world-class investors here, these are the ones. Anderson Horowitz, PayPal has even investors. Tiger Global, these guys have like $53 billion in assets under management. Hypersphere Ventures is massive. And Samsung Next, which is a investment wing of Samsung themselves, and Sequoia Capital. So these guys have invested in 2 separate funding rounds, which goes to show that, we're very convicted with this project. Obviously, I think Layer Zero wins out versus the 2, but that doesn't mean Layer Zero will outperform Wormhole. Again, it doesn't really depend on that. The amount of investors doesn't really occur. Neither does any of this, for a matter of fact, matter all that much. What matters is when you buy, okay, what price you buy in at. So Mike Rosa, someone from the private community over here, big shout out to him because he had a brilliant idea. When I said to the private community I bought Wormhole tokens, he had a brilliant suggestion. He said, Kyron, well, this is Wormhole's chart, give or take right now, and we're over here. Well, it makes sense to buy now because it's been confirmed that Layer 0 is going to launch sometime in the first half of this year as depicted by this tweet, which could mean a few more months away. A few more months means that we could be another 2, 3, or 4x up in terms of the price of Wormhole, which means when that does happen, you could sell some of your Wormhole tokens, right? Let's say we have 10,000 like I do, sell half and buy 5,000 of Layer 0, right? Whatever the ticker is for Layer 0, okay? So you have that opportunity to be exposed to two massively bullish projects for this narrative: interoperability, modularity, Layer 0. These are the kings of the bull run, I do believe, and they are direct competitors. Matter of fact, if you even come to Layer 0's website and scroll down, they kind of, I believe at least, maybe I'm looking into it too deeply, they even kind of flaunt that they have the largest bug bounty in the world because they probably know that Wormhole has also flaunted that they do have a pretty sizable bug bounty, wherever it is down here, 2 million bug bounty. Maybe I'm looking into it a bit too far, but either way, these two are direct competitors and they're very similar. So I kind of expect Layer 0 to have a similar chart to this, okay, because they have about $3 million worth of their token in airdrops. And as we know, like with Wormhole, like Pith and others, when you do give the community free tokens, they do dump on launch. So I kind of see us bottoming out like this with our Layer 0 as well, giving us an optimal time to buy the tokens as well, right? If the conditions aren't favorable, if the chart for Layer 0 looks like this from launch down here, which can happen in a bull run, well, again, we just simply hold our W tokens. The fact that we took that bet now at the lows for Wormhole, again, doesn't matter what coin you buy, even if technically speaking, Layer 0 is slightly better on paper than Wormhole. At the end of the day, guys, we bought at such a cheap price, it doesn't matter. Again, doesn't matter how you make your money, as long as you make your money. So with that being said, everyone, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. And if you have, again, help support all my work with a like down there right now. And I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Take care.